Since 1992, Cartoon Network has brought us some of the most amazing and beloved cartoons in television history. With shows that start out for children but amass huge adult followings, this network is here to stay. While kids may love the shows, it's the grown-ups who take to Reddit and come up with some of the craziest fan theories out there that just have to be seen to be believed. Don't forget to click that red subscribe button to stay up to date with all of the newest and coolest content from Screen Rant.
Oh yeah, cupcakes!
Fan theories are prone to getting decidedly dark, and this one about the Powerpuff Girls is no different. The Brenda theory imagines Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup are all multiple personalities of the same girl named Brenda. They believe her personalities manifested because of childhood bullying, which resulted in her hallucinating Mojo Jojo, the girl's #1 nemesis. The theory imagines all of the adventures they go on, and battles they fight are all inside of Brenda's mind, as her way of dealing with her childhood trauma. Dexter's Laboratory is one of the most popular cartoons Cartoon Network has ever made. It's the story of a young genius, mad scientist Dexter and his overbearing sister Dee Dee, who always manages to foil his plans. But this fan theory makes us see it in a whole new light. It imagines Dexter actually killed his family in a terrible accident, when one of his experiments went wrong, and the family we see him with are clones he rebuilt in order to cover up the accident and rid himself of guilt. Because they aired on the same network, it's only natural that some fan theories might tie two separate shows together, placing them in the same universe. This theory about Dee Dee from Dexter's Lab and a possible tie to the Powerpuff Girls universe might actually make sense. These fans suggested Dee Dee was actually a creation of Professor Utonium, only without the accidental addition of Chemical X. Because of her over-the-top sweetness and innocence, it seems totally possible that she is the perfect little girl the professor was aiming to create. Another Cartoon Network show that seems to take place in the same universe as Dexter and the Powerpuff Girls is Samurai Jack, and this theory makes an amazing argument for that point. This fan states that since Samurai Jack takes place in feudal Japan, and the girls take place at the end of the 20th century, that they all live in a world where Aku has been in control of Earth for at least 400 years, meaning the villains the Powerpuff Girls fight are almost certainly sent by Aku in an attempt to take over Townsville. It seems like fans are doing a lot of thinking about Samurai Jack, and we don't blame them. This Redditor has delved deep into the symbolism behind the show, and has come up with something pretty impressive. They state Jack actually represents the Japanese way of life before its industrialization, when people lived in a simpler, more traditional manner. And shapeshifter Aku in his dystopian future actually represents Japan in the present, industrialized and having abandoned a lot of their old ways.
You're like the cotton candy of the jungle.
Steven Universe is a totally out there show that provokes a lot of discussion, and why wouldn't it? The coming-of-age story of Steven, the half-gem, half-human little boy who is trying to find his place in the world while accompanying his gem friends as they protect their world. This theory examines one of the more mysterious characters, Lion. They imagine that Lion actually is Pink Diamond, reincarnated after she was shattered by Rose during the war. Because Lion doesn't talk, it is hard to confirm this, but it's a pretty interesting idea, but was completely debunked when a flashback revealed Rose Quartz as the Pink Diamond. It's widely understood in the world of Steven Universe that second-generation gems don't have any powers, as Peridot explained to Steven and Amethyst in one episode. But what if that isn't true at all? This fan theory wonders if the Great Diamond Authority actually lies to all those new generation gems about their powers, in order to keep them from developing their powers and rebelling against the Authority in the future. Because they suffered so much loss during the last rebellion, it makes sense that they would resort to deceiving future generations of gems. Because Steven's existence is so different from either the humans or the gems, it leaves a lot of open-ended questions to be answered. The biggest of which is what would happen if Steven's gem was lost or damaged. Much like Iron Man, this theory believes that taking away his gem would actually kill poor Steven. They know he isn't entirely made of light, so he wouldn't poof like other gems. But because he is partially human, he would actually suffer irreparable injuries if his gem was damaged. One of the last Steven Universe theories we're going to look at is one of the most mysterious, and concerns Pink Diamond's origins. We know for sure that Earth is her first colony, as it was where her soldiers came from, as well as the fact that all Rose Quartz was her creation. But where did she actually come from? Some fans believe that she was actually the first gem to be created on Earth, which is why she has such strong ties to the planet. Ben 10 is a cartoon series about a young boy named Ben, who one day discovers a device that allows him to take on the forms of 10 different alien heroes, each with their own separate set of powers and abilities. His cousin Gwen is a big part of the show, but some fans wonder if Gwen isn't his cousin at all, but actually his sister. They share the same birthday, and their personalities definitely have a strong yin and yang aspect to them, leading some to believe that they are actually siblings. Sometimes fan theories get pretty meta, with shows taking place in the same universe, crossing over into each other's worlds, and actually becoming aware that they are television shows within other television shows. This one has a similar idea, but in a totally different direction. This theory puts out the idea that Ben 10 is actually a comic book written by Gwen, and that all of their adventures and exploits take place on the page. It isn't a stretch to imagine that a creative older sister would make a comic book about her little brother. In yet another show crossover, this fan theory has some ideas about what Ben's Omnitix actually is. They believe it is actually a prototype for the Animorphs Escafil device, or vice versa. This is true because both devices are alien technology that do pretty much the same thing: absorb DNA and allow the wearer to turn into different creatures, and both share similar time limits and restrictions. You might say that Ben can't become Earth animals, only aliens. But is there actual proof that he couldn't if he tried?
This is not how I wanted to spend my last years.
Don't worry, old me. I have a new plan.
Teen Titans has been regarded by some as the best superhero cartoon ever made. And while there will always be people who think differently, there's no denying how awesome it is. Even Teen Titans Go, which is clearly a younger, sillier version of Teen Titans, still has a huge fan base. So much so, some even believe that Go takes place in a parallel universe from Teen Titans. Because the second version is so much wackier than the original, they believe it is just a different, wilder timeline than the first. It is a popular trope in TV and movies to explain unbelievable events by placing them in a character's dream and/or imagination. And that's just what this fan theory has done about Teen Titans Go. Because it's so much more lighthearted than the original Teen Titans, and because of Beast Boy's role as comic relief, these fans suggest that all of Teen Titans Go takes place inside of Beast Boy's mind. They believe that this new focus on Beast Boy is evidence that he is controlling the storytelling from within his own mind. One fan theory out there about Teen Titans Go is pretty unbelievable, but also makes a lot of sense. They suggest at some point, Lex Luthor actually managed to buy the entire planet Earth. First of all, his face appears on all of the money, which is a classic dictator move. And they go on to say that he eliminated mundane crime and cleaned up Gotham, all for profit, of course. This theory is actually quite sweet, and is a really interesting look at the worlds of both Teen Titans and Teen Titans Go. Some fans out there believe that TTG episodes are actually stories being told to children by the Titans themselves. It could explain why the show is more childlike than the originals, as it has been edited down to be appropriate and fun for them to hear, and the perspective of each episode favors whatever Titan is telling the story at the time. This fan theory wonders if the Teen Titans aren't the heroes after all, but are actually evil. These fans point out a number of different episodes in which it can't be said the Titans are actually out to do good, like in Beastman, when they appear to kill their opponent, or in Opposites, where they are caught robbing a bank. Also, they have been known to blow up parts of the city just to get some free pizza, which does sound a little evil, even for the biggest pizza fans out there.
Scoop it till you poop it. Let's get gross!
Adventure Time is one of those cartoons that is technically for children, but has undoubtedly become even more of a sensation among the older generations. It's these adult fans who are responsible for some outrageous theories, and they really aren't afraid to dig deep. This first theory states that Ooo, where the show takes place, is actually a post-apocalyptic version of California, given that we have seen a California license plate and the fact that all the characters speak American English. It's not much to go on, but you never know. One of the most beloved characters on Adventure Time is, of course, Princess Bubblegum, who is adored for her humor as well as the fact that she is clearly a little messed up. So much so that some fans believe that she is actually a high-functioning sociopath, and has proven it time and time again. From her ability to lie to others and not feel remorse, to hiding her emotions, to holding up on her own and not speaking to others and more, the evidence to prove this one true is everywhere. One of the most popular types of fan theories are those that attempt to explain and understand characters' mysterious origins. And this one is no different. This theory wonders if Finn's mother is actually Susan, who was lost at sea when Finn was a baby, and was taken in by the fish people. Because of a head injury during the accident, she has no memory of it or of her son. It also explains that Finn's fear of the ocean is because of this incident, a childhood trauma that he never got over. Perhaps the most popular Adventure Time fan theory is this one, that Marceline and Princess Bubblegum are actually a couple. While it has never been explicitly stated, the evidence just piles up to confirm what fans have wondered. Firstly, we have an episode where Princess Bubblegum wakes up wearing Marceline's shirt, and another time in which Marceline sings a pretty romantic song to Princess Bubblegum. Some fans believe that Adventure Time is actually just a game being played between Finn and his father, and there is a lot of evidence to back it up. First of all, the characters grow up, which is very unusual for a cartoon. And secondly, there is almost always a lesson or moral, which a father would undoubtedly make a part of the game.
Oh, Benson,
Get back to work now!
Regular show is anything but, with its lead characters being Rigby the raccoon and Mordecai the blue jay, who are groundskeepers at a park. But this fan theory calls into question the entirety of the show. They wonder if Mordecai and Rigby aren't animals at all, but human beings who partake in some illicit substances to make them believe that they are their animal counterparts. There is a lot of evidence to support this theory, if it's never explicitly stated. All it takes is one episode to believe this could be true. It's built into their characters that Mordecai and Rigby are a bit lazy, and they'll do pretty much anything to avoid work and have a good time. And this theory plays off of that idea. Fans believe that all of the events of the show that are so ridiculous and outlandish are actually just elaborate excuses that the boys tell their boss, Benson. Rather than admitting to skipping work, they concoct the insane tales of adventures that make up the episodes, even bringing him in on it in order to confuse and distract him. Johnny Bravo is a Cartoon Network classic, and actually where Seth MacFarlane got his start on TV. While we know him as a guy who likes to think he's a smooth James Dean lookalike, some fans actually wonder if he might be a child. It explains almost all of his behavior, like the fact that he never actually gets a date, he exaggerates everything about himself, he doesn't seem to have an actual job, his whole appearance seems like something a child would imagine as the ideal grown-up, and the list goes on.
How'd you like to paint the town red with a happening hipster?
Well, there they are, some of the wildest Cartoon Network fan theories out there. What did you think of these theories? Do you agree with any of them? How about disagree? Do you think that some make no sense at all? Let us know in the comments and hit subscribe to keep up with the latest from Screen Rant.